Good evening. Well, you will have to pardon me for being in, is it my furry mode? That because that I just simply feel like being my Cation, Starfleet officer self this this evening. That uh, I am doing okay, but that it's just like being, I just simply want to be somebody else, that at this time, rather than being me, being my ordinary self. Well, anyways, being on a starship, that, uh, that my Cation alter ego here uh, is an engineering officer on a Federation Klingon, that uh, hybrid, the warfighter carrier. You know, the, yes, as I said, I've always, well, anyways, I've always been a Trekkie. That. Well, anyways, this is actually what I the only thing I've got, as a because I want to be a Cation. That uh, that the Cations are a felinoid species in the Star Trek universe, and I was just saying, my Cation alter ego is instead of the Starfleet officer, engineering officer, who is a with it uh, who is a systems engineer, like was it the Lieutenant Barclay on the Starship Enterprise, that Star Trek: The Next Generation, and that the starship he serves on is a warp fighter carrier that is a Klingon Federation hybrid design, which carries 1,000. There was a warp capable small fighter craft, plus 10,000 Klingon and Terran and Cation combat was it uh, combat troops, and the the, the and this warp fighter carrier has just finished its tour of duty during the Dominion War. This is the background that I'm actually starting to create an idea for a pilot episode of a what I would call was it uh, Star Trek Cation Freighter for Hire, where the engineering officer that is my alter ego in the Star Trek universe. Occasion, as it becomes the captain of a very obsolete old Star Trek original series, Starfleet freighter that just simply does not just cargo runs, but also does the cloak and dagger stuff for the Starfleet's Section 31. As I said, that as a person, I've always been into the Star Trek and stuff like that. When I was a teenager, was it, uh, as it everybody in high school called me, was it Star Trek Tom, because they thought that I was always beamed aboard the Starship Enterprise. And of course, in actual real life, I myself have actually met the I myself have met in person actors Leonard Nimoy, who was Spock, James Stewart, who was Scotty, Nichelle Nichols, who was Uhura. I've also met Marina Sirtis, who was Counselor Troy. Plus, I've also met Michael Dorn, who was Worf on Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And I don't have all the Star Trek episodes on DVD or Blu-ray, but I got quite a bit of Star Trek. The almost all the Star Trek movies, except for Star Trek 2, Star Trek 8, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek 8, First Contact. And I will note that my late younger brother was it Doctor Who, and I have quite a few DVDs that my brother Nate collected of different episodes of Doctor Who. It would be interesting to have a crossover episode where the Starship Enterprise or the Star Trek Discovery encounters the traveling Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey. Of course, there have been with it fan fiction stuff, with it, which I like, and I will note that I really like the Star Trek fan fiction filmed episodes of Star Trek Phase 2 and Star Trek Continues. That were done, by Star Trek fans in a converted car dealership turned movie studio. Was it in upstate New York? That, and like how they did a sequel to the episode Mirror, Mirror. They also did a Star Trek fan fiction episode where Captain Kirk gets was it uh, captured by the Klingons, forced to reveal the Guardian of Forever, and he gets thrown into the Guardian of Forever and ends up in 1950s in the United States in a Kirk ends up in a mental hospital from being tortured by the Klingons using the Mind Sifter device. One thing I'm not very fond of is that the CBS and Paramount have squashed the Star Trek fan fiction episode that was to be fully filmed as a complete, as it online, was it the feature movie, an episode called Star Trek Axanar, was it, which would have done it, which would have been a prequel to the episode, the Star Trek season 3 episode of Whom Gods Destroy, where they show in that episode the show was that the fleet captain Garth as being totally mentally insane, but in the Star Trek Axanar, there was supposed to be a full feature online film, and it showed was it uh, there was a show was it Captain Garth in his prime, totally sane and rational, and that leading the fight against the Klingons. They said, that I think was it the major studios sometimes do a real fuck up job of, was it uh, that they want to have it all their way, with it, and they try to with it stamp out was it fan fiction, which many of it ends up being was it a lot more imaginative and was it uh, far more of what the Star Trek fans really want to see as far as Star Trek episodes. I have yet to see, of course, the Star Trek, the Lower Decks series. That I only got to see the first episode. Was it? I'm gonna have to wait until it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. I also have missed the seeing the Star Trek Picard series. So was it? I wish I could see that. See that. Because it was supposed to be a like a sequel to the oh okay. So was it like Star Trek 10? And of course, I also think it's too bad that the Star Trek Kelvin timeline, Star Trek 4 got torpedoed. Who knows what happened there? Is it everybody seems to be pointing fingers and playing the game, like the blame game on that one. That of course I'm gonna have to wait for Star Trek Discovery Season 3 to end up on DVD or Blu-ray in order to see it, because I'm not paying another $6 a month just to watch Star Trek with the new Star Trek episodes. Because I'm not made out of money. That. Oh well. Anyways, of course, I gotta take and buy myself a pair of furry paws and a tail to help me to complete my Star Trek alter ego. And I also have to buy a Star Trek with it, like a uniform shirt, costume shirt. That way I could dress up better as my Cation alter ego. Well, anyways, that's it for this video weblog. Me just popping my Cation head on. Wanted to be a Cation, lay in Star Trek.